Hello and welcome to another manga spotlight. This is Combatants Will Be Dispatched. It is by the creator of KonoSuba, and it has a lot of the same humor. So if you really like KonoSuba, you're gonna freaking love this. This series is freaking amazing. I love it so much. It's like one of my favorite ongoing mangas at the moment. Um, First off, I just want to say sorry for not having a video last week. It is the holiday season, so I've been kind of busy. In fact, I'm actually recording this on Christmas right now, and I'm going to try to be quick about this because I actually have to get to my relative's house for a Christmas get together. This is the only time I'm going to have to basically get a recording done, and I didn't want to go 2 weeks without anything. So, yeah, sorry again. But yeah, this is Combatants Will Be Dispatched. As far as I know, I think this is actually getting an anime adaptation. I believe this manga is also based off of a light novel, which I'm going to see if I can track down because I believe the light novel has been officially licensed in the U.S. If so, I definitely want to pick it up because again, this series is the greatest. So I'll read this little right here. So the Secret Society Kisaragi has one mission: world domination. They claim to be an evil organization, but their scientist is eccentric. Their hot female generals wear little clothing and are surprisingly concerned about the fate of the world. Number 6 is Combatant for Kisaragi, meaning his body has been reconstructed to be stronger and obey the orders of the generals. His latest mission: to do recon on an unknown alien planet with his new partner, the deadpan android Alice. There he meets the busty female knight riding a unicorn. Thus begins this hilarious invasion of a magical fantasy world. So yeah, basically, it's about number 6. He's never really given a name. He's just called Combatant number 6 or number 6. And he works for this evil organization that wants world domination. And they basically have this machine that will teleport them to different planets. And there's this one planet that's basically like a medieval kind of fantasy world. So it's almost kind of like an isekai. Even has an isekai tag. Though technically, well, yeah, it is an isekai because isekai doesn't really need to have reincarnation. There is no reincarnation here. It's basically almost kind of like Inuyasha, where the main character lives in the present day world, but then he gets teleported to the past, or in this case, he gets teleported to another world that has like medieval fantasy kind of elements. But yeah, here's a little shot of here's our main character right here. He looks a lot more. Is it Bishijo? He looks a lot more pretty boyish here than he does in the actual series. This is basically the Aqua character, Snow. We'll get more into that. So yeah, here's again another lineup of our characters. So we got number 6. We got Alice, the android. We got Grimm, who is the wizard character, and she is freaking amazing. I love her. We have Rose and the lolly fighter, and we have Snow, who's basically Aqua, only a bit more competent. So yeah, here we go. Here's combatant number 6, and we have like a little brief thing where his boss is pretty much telling him, like, your mission is to investigate the status of the land and resources, survey the livelihood of local creatures. If there are local people, you will need to spy on their military power. Basically, he's being sent to do a recon of this unknown planet. If there's any inhabitants, he has to basically quote unquote befriend them so that he can spy on them, see what their military power is. And then also he needs to basically construct a teleportation device on that planet so that this group can basically send their army in and conquer the planet. Basically, once he's sent to this world, he can't get back until he creates a teleportation device on the other side. And the funny thing is that the teleportation device, well, I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, here's the evil corporation, the Kisaragi. They have taken the surgery modeling at the time. I have taken the surgery remodeling at the time I had joined, and I was used as a combatant. So basically, he was kind of like a loser, and they basically did like an operation on him to make him a bit more like stronger and faster and stuff like that. Basically, make him more of a super soldier. But he still has kind of like this dumb mindset. But he's not necessarily dumb. He's a lot like Kazuma. If you guys read KonoSuba, he's basically like Kazuma. This is Alice. Alice is also freaking amazing. She is basically a android who is sent with combat number 6 to basically kind of help him. And she kind of comes across as like this smug little brat because she's a robot. She's super intelligent, and you think she's just kind of there just to constantly like rag on our hero. And there's a little bit of that, but she also tends to side with him on a lot of things, which is pretty funny. But he basically has this device on him, and the device basically, anytime when he does evil deeds or causes mischief or just does anything bad, he gets evil points. And then the evil points is basically his currency. He can use the evil points and spend it to buy items. He can buy stuff like explosives. He can buy shotguns. He can buy like camping equipment. Basically, whatever supplies he wants, he can get by getting evil points. Which is kind of funny because you would think, you know what, if you guys really want him to succeed on this mission, why not just give him whatever he asks for? But instead, it's kind of like an RPG where it's like, you're the hero that has to save the world, but I'm still going to charge you for all these weapons, even though like my livelihood and my family, and I mean, this evil dude's trying to take over the world, so obviously it's going to affect me. I still need money, so I'm still going to charge you. It's kind of like that where like, it's like, why not just give him all these items that he needs when he requests them, instead of having to force him to do like evil things so that he can get points that then he can use that points as currency. But that's where kind of a lot of the humor comes in. It's just him going around doing like evil stuff, but his evil stuff is like freaking stupid. Like there's one scene where like he basically pulls down his zipper and then he runs around and starts flashing all the women in town, and they start freaking out, and that's how he gets evil points. It's like really dumb things like that. There's one because of that incident, he's called Zipper Man, and this like kid constantly teases him. So to get back at the kid, he basically hides a porno magazine in the kid's bedroom where his parents will find it. Like it's like little dumb things like that he does. It's hilarious. But yeah, basically it kind of just explains who number 7 is. Stubborn and stupid. Chip with remodeling surgery. So yeah, he's been remodeled to be like stronger and stuff like that. Strain power. And like the clothes are basically like a power suit. It's so heavy, it will turn a dead weight clothes when it stops functioning. Yeah, so basically the clothes are powered, and the clothes are so heavy that when they're powered, they're fine. They're like lightweight, but as soon as the power runs out, he basically drops and he can't move at all, which puts them in very compromising situations. But yeah, I just throw this in because Alice, again, Alice is an awesome character. I love Alice. I'm not going to show too much of her in this, but just some of the stuff that she does, like she's a deadpan snarker, and she does agree with the combatant on a lot of things. But just like I'll just leave it at that. She's a great character. I love her. And then we get Snow, and Snow is basically the captain of the Royal Knight crew. And you think she's like this like great soldier if she's leading this group, but she sucks. She is basically obsessed with swords. Like the only thing she gives a crap about is gold and swords, and the reason why she wants gold is that she can buy more swords. And she basically is given the role of being in charge of Combatant's little group. And Combatant's little group is basically, he's paired with like misfits. He's paired with like all the people that none of the other soldiers and stuff want. Like they're just kind of like the castaways. And she basically sees this as like a great thing. Like, I'm the leader of this group. And then like Combatant number 6 is kind of like, so since, we're a bunch of misfits that no one wants, we're like, basically a bunch of troublemakers, and you're the leader of us, does that mean that you're a misfit and unwanted as well? Which is true, but she gets like really pissed off about that. It's pretty funny. So we got Rose. Rose is basically, in terms of personality, the Megumi character from KonoSuba, except she's not, a magician. She's basically a brawler. She's like a chimera, and yeah, it's funny. She does like a lot of like just like crazy poses. She does a lot of stupid stuff. And then her excuse was that it was written in the will that her grandfather made. Like basically, she does like a when she introduces herself, as you saw in that last page. She basically has the pose, but she also has like a poetry describing herself, and like she's embarrassed doing it, but she does it because that's like what her grandpa left in his will. And it's funny, like, just becomes a running gag where she does a bunch of dumb things that she doesn't want to do. That's like really embarrassing, but she does them anyways because apparently her grandpa said that he wants her to do it in his will. And it's just like, how long is this will? Because he apparently wants you to do a lot of stupid, embarrassing things. But she's like a really good fighter, but she's also kind of like one of those where she's a glutton. Like she stops in the middle of battle so she can like eat her enemies because she eats basically meat. So she like attacks orcs and then she just like starts trying to eat them in the middle of battle rather than continuing the fight like all the other enemies. And we get basically a little bit of her background where she was basically discovered in this ruin inside a tank, and her grandpa was basically the one that was kind of like researching her and her abilities and things like that. And then yeah, he dabbled in forbidden arts and he died. And she's working for the kingdom because they promised that if she does, that they would basically give her the results of the investigation of the ruins. So she'll find out more of her backstory. But combatant number 6 basically thinks it's just a load of bullshit. And it's just like they're just kind of lying to you because they want you in their army, obviously. But yeah, as I said, like just I love whenever Alice basically like teams up with combat number 6 together. Like they're hilarious. And then we got Grimm, who, other than combat number 6, Grimm is my favorite character. She is freaking amazing. So she's basically in a wheelchair all the time. She's like flirtatious, but whenever like combat number 6 calls her on her bluff, she gets like super embarrassed. But she's like the magician role. She basically is a follower of this demon that's everyone. He's basically like a chaos demon, so like everyone kind of dislikes her and no one wants to deal with her. People kind of want her to die because she's basically worshiping like this evil demon. And she's also has a tendency to fall asleep all the time. Like she's she has like narcolepsy or something. And she'll fall asleep, especially in the middle of battle, which we see here. She basically falls asleep. She wakes up just to get bashed in the head and basically have her brains bashed out. And she, quote unquote, gets killed. But it turns out that she's not actually dead. Basically, because of the fact that she worships this demon, she's kind of like immortal. I mean, a ritual is needed to bring her back. But yeah, she can basically die over and over again. I like how this. I don't know why this is funny, but I mean, her brains are basically, her head's like basically just a pulp. And I just like how they just kind of casually tossed her body into a wagon filled with a bunch of pumpkins and stuff like that. Like they just kind of like dumped her in there. Like they don't give a shit. But yeah, this is our little group of misfits, of troublesome people. A great group. I freaking love them. But a little bit more of Grimm, just because like I like her so much. But yeah, because she worships Zenolith, she's kind of shunned, and basically the people don't like really care for her. Comment number 6 kind of feels a connection with her because basically, I mean, he's in the company with a bunch of like troublemakers themselves, so he kind of bonds with these characters. But yeah, this is kind of funny. So basically, her and combatant number 6 are going on this date when they're just basically like running around chasing people in her wheelchair. And this is kind of funny. So basically, a cop tells them to knock it off, and she basically starts taunting the cop about how like, you know, your prude personality is why you have no boyfriend. And the cop's like, but I do have a boyfriend. And of course this pisses off Grimm, so Grimm starts like kicking her. And the cop's like, you know, geez, like your stupid, like idiotic, you know, antics are the reason why you'll never find a boyfriend. And that like is basically Grimm's berserk trigger. So she basically pulls out a voodoo doll and calls upon her god to curse the to curse the cop. But she curses the cop with dizziness. Like, you can curse the cop with anything, and she chooses dizziness, and the cop gets like a little bit lightheaded. And Combatant number 6 is like, man, that was kind of lame. Like, you did all this, like, you did all this chanting, you pulled out your voodoo doll, you called upon your god just to make the cop a little bit dizzy. And Grimm kind of explains her powers. Like, she basically, her powers is that she curses people, but the curse doesn't work all the time. It only works about 80% of the time. And she needs like an offering to activate the curse. And sometimes the curse won't activate. And if the curse doesn't activate, she gets afflicted with the curse instead. So that's why she's very she doesn't really, like, do like big curses, like big like evil like spells, because on the off chance that it doesn't work, she doesn't want it blowing back on her. But it's kind of funny because she's like, because of that. And he's like, oh, because of that, your legs were weakened, and that's why you're in a wheelchair. And she's like, no, it's because of that, I was unable to put on shoes. So the only reason why she's in a wheelchair is because she is unable to wear shoes. It's not because like her legs are are weakened or anything like that. It's just because she's unable to put on shoes because of a curse she did in the past. So now she spends all her time in a wheelchair. And then of course we got our baddie. The Demon Lord's General. I thought this was freaking awesome. So we basically get, big titty, dark skin, elf-like demon queen, and she is basically introducing herself and taunting our hero. And then our hero, as she's doing this huge spiel, our main hero is just sitting there just like trying to snap photos of like upskirt shots and stuff like that. I don't know why, I love this. Like, just what do you do? And he's just oh, the humor in this series is freaking amazing. But yeah, Combatant number 6 is just great. Like, he's evil. Like, he's from an evil company. He does bad guy things, but he's technically a good guy. But like we have this scene where there's this castle, and the villains have basically taken over it, and they're up on the top level. And anytime when they try to send up like soldiers in there to try to reclaim this castle, this tower, the soldiers just get brutally murdered. So Combat number 6 is like, well, why don't we just basically burn the first floor and just light everybody up on fire? It'll be fun. And then like we just see him taking pleasure in basically his fantasy of burning all these demons. And of course he said like, well, the castle's made of stone. We can't light stone on fire. So he comes up with this brilliant idea where basically he's like, all right, well, all the soldiers will basically be distractions. Send them all up the tower and just, let them get killed, whatever. They're just basically like meat shields. They're just going to basically be a distraction. Meanwhile, as they're being distracted, our little group is going to climb up the tower. And the thing is that it actually works. He climbs up the tower and he drop kicks one of the leaders. It's basically these two brothers, these two Minotaur kind of looking brothers. And he drop kicks one of them like off this little ledge. And I thought this was kind of funny. He's hanging on for his life. He's like crying out for his brother to save him. And meanwhile, he's just like, let's throw rocks at his brother and see if we can knock him off. So just like casually throwing rocks at him. And then basically the brother starts freaking out because he doesn't want his brother to fall to his death. So he's like, you stay there and don't move, and let our people attack you. Basically, you stay there, don't move, let our group attack you, and if you move, I'm going to attack your brother. But if you don't move and let us beat you up, we won't do anything to your brother. So basically he pulls this like really evil plan on them. And yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. He's like, basically like, keep your distance and mess them up. You're free to move as you please, but who knows what will happen to your precious partner if you do. So basically like, stay still, let us beat the crap out of you. Otherwise, if you move, we're going to chuck more rocks at your buddy, and we're going to let him fall to his death. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I know I didn't really go over like too much of the story and stuff because I want you guys to experience it for yourself. This series is freaking amazing. The translation is also really good too. I guess maybe that's something I should start like breaking down more of. The artwork is great. Like I freaking love the artwork. The writing, not translation, but the writing itself, like the characters and the story and stuff, is amazing. All the characters have their own quirks and personalities. They're all freaking hilarious in their own ways. There's a lot of like great humor and gags and stuff like that. Like if you want like good lighthearted comedy with like action and adventure, definitely check this out. It's freaking fantastic. It's been through I believe like 3 or 4 different translator groups, and the translation has actually been pretty good. I don't really have any complaints about the translations. There are some parts, obviously, with any kind of unofficial translated manga where something might just seem a little off. But for the most part, the grammar is really good. The translation is really good. It feels like they actually translated what was, like the dialogue and then rewrote a little bit so it makes sense grammatically rather than just being a straight like Google translation where it's like, okay, like these are English words, but the way they're written, like this doesn't make sense, or it's just it feels very, very off. I'm not getting any of that reading this series. But yeah, I highly recommend this series. It's fantastic. I love it. I don't know if the manga has been officially translated. I think it has, maybe. I don't know. If it has, I'm definitely gonna spend money on it. I believe the light novel has been officially translated. I'm definitely gonna try to pick that up one of these days. Probably sometime soon. Just because like I really want to support the author and stuff like that. Like this series is fantastic. And I believe it's also getting a anime adaptation, so definitely check that out when it comes out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please tell me what you guys think. If you guys have any recommendations for mangas, let me know. I always save every recommendation that you guys send me, and I either always put it in my plan to read, or I'll read it myself immediately, depending on how long it is. Obviously, if it's something like with 20 plus chapters, I put it on my plan to read, and I'll get to it, when I have time. If it's something that's like less than 10 chapters, less than 5 chapters, I'll read it immediately. Like, I'll try to binge it in one setting. But yeah, let me know if you guys like have any recommendations. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.